Alright, we'll get started drawing today. We're going to do the first two patterns are going to be grids. So this is some people hate grids. Don't worry. If you want to freehand it, you can always get a ruler and you can do it, but I invite you to just do it freehand. Just make whatever shape you want. And then you're going to do a grid. So my grid always tends to be about a 1/2 inch, but if you want yours to be bigger or smaller, that's fine. You just want to be able to get 3 columns and 3 rows. So that's your only rule. You do want to try to have your lines straight if you can, or straight-ish. Alright, so this is a quad design. So what that means is you're going to use 4 squares to make this design. So you're going to work in groups of 4 for this one. So I'm just going to pick one that has a full set of squares, and I'm going to draw a circle in all 4 of them. You don't have to be perfect circles, you just want to try and get it to fill up the space. Like that one there is a little wonky. So don't worry if you don't have perfect circles. So now here are my 4. I'm going to draw another mini circle in the middle of these to make basically 4 hours. It doesn't matter which 2, but you're going to do 2 of them, and 2 of the mini circles you're going to color them in, but it's going to be opposite of the one that you did. And these 2 here that have the opposite design, these 2 are the ones you're going to color in the background. So this one here, I'm going to go opposite. Just like that. So now we're going to work on these 2 here. You can do horizontal, diagonal lines, up and down, vertical, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to do I'm going to do mine up and down, I guess. You want to try and get at least 3 lines inside, or more. It doesn't have to be exact. So if this one has 3, this one does not have to have 3 also. So this one has the lines. That means that these 2 backgrounds are going to have lines as well. Again, they don't have to line up. Nobody's going to look. You do want to have this space in between each line. You don't want them to touch. So that's basically your design, your pattern. So you're going to repeat the same thing here, but so this exact thing here that you have, we'll copy right here. But what I want to do is I'm going to go down here so I can show you that the next row has to be the same design as this. You're not going to alter where your circles go. So here's my quad again. I'm not going to draw my circles up here. I'm going to draw them down in this center quadrant here. This one is black, so this one will, this background here is striped, so this one will be colored in black. See how it kind of makes a checkerboard, like everything is opposite of the other side, and the one next to it. So that means that this one is colored in. Yeah, there's this one. This one will have lines. So that's exactly how the pattern goes. And again, you can make these really small, you can make them larger, whatever it is that you want. You just want to try and get 3 columns and 3 rows. Or at least one group, one full group. You're going to kind of lose the design if you don't. So I'm just going to keep filling them in. You can draw however you like. These side ones get a little tricky when you fill in these. So if you want to do it in pencil first and draw your actual, your line would be actually like way out here. So you can draw your full circle in that space with a pencil. The same with these down here. You're not going to see much of that. It's basically just going to be an arch. Just make sure you draw it light enough that you can erase it later. And then go back over. Right, so you can get really silly with these. You can actually turn them into eyeballs if you want. You can make them into olives or put little faces on them. You can do all kinds of silly stuff with this one. You can modify them however you want, change the backgrounds. You could do polka dots instead. You could fill a couple of them in with color if you wanted to. So there's lots of different things that you could do with this. Of course, you can draw it on a diagonal. The only thing that you have to have is this square grid. So even if you have like a really wonky shape, you can do the same thing, but your lines have to be straight through whatever it is that you draw. Alright, so the second one that we're going to do is also a grid. Again, you can just draw any shape you want. It doesn't have to be a square, rectangle, whatever. It can be any shape you want. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight either, because obviously in Zendoodle, most of your shapes that you fill in are not going to be straight. So this one is also a grid. You can make it a little bigger, a little smaller, whatever you want to do. You just want it to be straight in some way, so yours can go diagonally across the space if you like. And as you can tell, some of my lines are not completely straight, so don't worry about that. Alright, so again, this is going to be a quad design as far as how you get started. So you're going to just look at this first four here. In each of the squares, you're going to draw another set of lines. So this is your center point here. I'm just going to make a little dot. You don't have to do that part, but I'm going to make a dot so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to work in these four squares. I'm going to go from this center point to the halfway point down here, a straight line, and then from here to the halfway point on this line. So you're basically going to divide it into 3 sections. And you do the same thing on each of these. Again, you can use a ruler if you really want to. I recommend that you don't, just because that's not the point. The point is to just be calm and to draw. But if it's going to bother you, obviously that's not very relaxing, so you can get a ruler. So here's your quad. The center section of each of these is what you're going to color in. So sometimes it helps if you actually just go through and put a dot in the 4 that you're going to color. So once you start coloring, you don't get confused. Alright, so I want to go to the next 4 here. And the only thing, once you have one square drawn, the one thing that you want to do is, in this section here, you want to line up with this point. So I'm going to draw my line from this point to this point here so that they match. This one doesn't have one, so I'm just going to find the middle. And then this one here does have a line, so I'm going to go from the center point to this point here. And then from the middle of this line to the center point. Down to the middle, to the middle, to the middle, and to the middle. So this is basically the pattern, so you're going to repeat itself. Once you get several squares colored in, you'll actually see the real pattern. A different pattern will come out. It looks really neat. This is kind of it's a quilting pattern actually, but it works for drawing as well. I'm going to switch to the big marker for the coloring section. So do you see the other pattern here? Isn't that neat? So you can actually change this to be more of a pinwheel too. I'm just going to draw it really, really quickly. And I'm just going to get a couple of rows here. Okay, so you do the exact same thing where you divide it, each section into 3 from the center point. So it's the same, I'm doing this quickly. So it's the same design here. But what you're going to do is you're going to alternate. So when you color it in, you can start with this one here, with the center one here, just like before. But then when you go to the next square, you're going to alternate. So you're going to go around, you're going to go black, white, this one here will be black, and then white, and then this one will be black. White, black, white, black, again, I'm doing this very sloppy just so we can move on. So if you do that, and then when you go to the next section, again, they should line up here. You're going to start in the same section. So this one here was black, this one here will also be black. And you're going to do the exact same pattern. It'll be exactly the same in each quad. So this, doing it this way where you have the exact same pattern, is going to give you a pinwheel effect versus this, which will make kind of a quilted star. I don't even know what that is. It's like a 4-sided star. A ninja star. So you can do either one. Again, you can make them really, really small. If you make them really small, I recommend that you use a really thin pen versus the artist markers or Sharpies. But it looks really, really cute when it's really, really tiny too. It's a lot of detail packed into one little section. Alright, so this next one is a border. You can use this as a regular fill as well. So if you have kind of an egg shape or a thinner section, you can do this one as well. So we're just going to do a border for this. You can make it straight, you can make it wonky, you can make it where it comes closer together and it goes out. It doesn't matter to me. You can just do it straight across, however you want to do it. So in any way, anywhere on the thing, you're going to make kind of those arched C's that we always talk about, where you start along the line and then you end along the line, so it makes a good C. These can be any size, thickness that you want. So I'm going to put a little dot in there because I'm going to color that one in. I'm going to color it black. And you don't have to do this now. You can wait until you can just kind of work your way across and do it that way. It's up to you. You can have some that are really thick, some that are really thin. Further away, it's up to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and color those in quick. Alright. So you may have more sections, you may have fewer, it's up to you. So I'm just going to work in one section, it doesn't matter. So this is a two-sided design. So you're going to work on one side and then you're going to go to the other side. But you're not going to be working off 4 walls. So you're going to have 1 point here, 1 point here, but you're going to be working off of these 4 walls and you have to alternate. So these, it looks really cool with these arched lines here, but if you don't like that, you could just make those straight. It's up to you. So I'm going to start on 1 point here, and I'm going to make a line that starts in the point and gets wider as it goes out, just like that. And then I'm going to go to the opposite point and do the same thing on the opposite wall. So by wall I mean this side and then this side. So point to wall, point to wall. Now I'm going to go back up to this point, and I'm going to do this side. And then I'm going to go to this point, and I'm going to do this side. So you're going to repeat that same process. Now you go back up to here and draw that, and you're going to stop when you hit this next line. So I'm going to go to this point here, and I'm going to stop when I hit the next line. I'm going to go back up. It's easy to get confused, so you have to pay attention to which side you're working on. And you're just going to keep going around this lace. So when you get to these middle sections, you can decide when you want to stop. You just don't want the lines to be so close together that it fills in the section. So I'm going to stop. If I would draw another set of lines in there, it would make it really, really dark in that center, and that's not the look that I want. If you want to try it, you certainly can. I'm not going to. So now in these next sections, you could do a really large one in here, or you can cut it in half. Sorry, my hand itches. So I'm going to actually cut this space in half just to show you what I mean. I'm just going to draw a line straight through there. It could be arched, it could be straight. I'm going to leave it straight. And you're going to do the exact same thing. So let's say I want to start on this point. I'm going to do the exact same process that I just did. Again, don't arch your lines. Even though these are arched, you don't want the other ones to be arched. And like this one here, you're basically going to ignore this and you're going to kind of draw straight through it, the very first one. I recommend that you take your time with this one because it's very easy to get confused. I'm actually going to stop because I don't want those to get so close that it breaks my design. It puts a black mark in there. So now this one here, I'm going to go to the opposite corner on this one. You could do this point and this point type of a thing, but I'm actually going to go the opposite way. So I'm actually going to stop right there. So you can break it up and it makes it look very cool. Like somebody's going to look at that and say, how in the world did you do that? You're amazing. So give it a try. I'm sorry. Give it a try and see if you like it. Otherwise you can just do them as individual sections. You don't want to always start in the same corner, so maybe not always start in the top left. I keep tending to do that. So this one here, I'm actually going to start over here. And I'm just going to do one large section so you can see section. So you can see what it looks like if you just do one large section. So this is the difference here. You just have really long, narrow lines versus having a whole bunch of them. So again, I kind of like this look. It makes it look much more complicated than it actually is. So I kind of like it when you have a larger section to do it where you split it in half and work that way versus doing it that, but you can vary it however you want. So those are the designs for today. Again, you can use this as a general fill. So if you have kind of a, I don't know, like a thinner wonky section, something like that, you can do that same design in here. And you can fill up this section with that. So you could do the same thing to actually fill a section versus using it as a border. And likewise with these, you could use this as a border and just do, you know, quads or a single row, something like that, where you alternate the things. So this one is very versatile. So I do hope you like Lucky Number 13 class. If you didn't, I do apologize. I do take suggestions. So hopefully you can join us next week, Thursday, for another Zen Doodle class. And I hope you have a fantastic day.